to the breaking news we had just before the news, and you heard it in the news headlines as well, that 3 members of the senior leadership team at the hospital where Lucy Letby, serial killer nurse, of course, used to work, have been arrested. They were in leadership roles at the Countess of Chester Hospital in 2015 and 2016. They've not been named. They have been arrested on suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter. They've been bailed pending further inquiries. As I say, they've not been named. Now, 2015-2016 is the period of time when Lucy Letby was working in the neonatal unit at the Chester Hospital. She was later found guilty of murdering 7 children and attempting to murder 7 more during that time. Lots and lots of talk right now about whether or not she was wrongly convicted and whether or not there'd actually been massive problems in this neonatal unit that weren't down to her. This is in relation to the idea that, well, she wasn't responsible for those deaths. They were. The key thing here is Detective Superintendent Paul Hughes is the Senior Investigating Officer for Operation Duet, which has been looking into this since October 23. He says, following the lengthy trial and conviction of Lucy Letby, Cheshire Constabulary launched an investigation into corporate manslaughter at the Countess of Chester Hospital. This focuses on senior leadership and their decision-making to determine whether any criminality has taken place concerning the response to the increased levels of fatalities. In March this year, it was widened to also include gross negligence manslaughter, which is a separate offence, basically the inaction and failures by individuals. And he pointed out it is important to note this does not impact on the convictions of Lucy Letby for multiple offences of murder and attempted murder. Tom Slater is the editor of Spiked Online, who is joining me in the studio. Very interesting development here. My initial thought, I think a lot of people's would be, oh, hold on a second, if you're arresting hospital leaders, hospital bosses for nurse leadership teams, management of the unit, hospital chief execs, we know there's been lots and lots of criticism of them by, it all came out in the trial that senior consultants were going to hospital managers saying, we think that something's going on, or we think Lucy Letby may be responsible for these children dying, and there was total inaction. It would appear there's relation to that, not the idea that they were responsible for the deaths and Lucy Letby is exonerated, as some are, Peter Hitchens and others are claiming that she's innocent. She is a convicted serial killer after all. But 3 arrests on suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter is incredibly serious.
Absolutely, and I think it is crystal clear what this is in relation to. As you say, there has been this kind of theory from people who are critical of the convictions of Lucy Letby that the problem was essentially the hospital, that there was some kind of internal problem, that there were
there's clearly issues in terms of the neonatal unit, in terms of failures there.
Absolutely.